Air at Morozovsk airfield bites with a specific kind of Russian cold, 20 degrees below zero, the kind that snaps metal and freezes breath in your lungs. Under harsh floodlights, 18 Sukhoi Su-34 fighter bombers sit motionless on frozen concrete. They're not sleeping. They're waiting. Lined up wing to wing, heavy with fuel, loaded with cruise missiles. Deep in southern Russia, hundreds of kilometers from the front, their commanders believe they're untouchable. Inside the heated barracks, it's a different world. Cigarette smoke, cheap champagne, celebration. It's 13 minutes to midnight, and these pilots are already toasting the new year. They don't know the clock on the wall isn't counting down to celebration. It's counting down to their extinction. The mission was scheduled for dawn, January 1st, 2026. 6 a.m. sharp, 18 jets, 72 cruise missiles. Targets: the remaining electrical substations of Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Lviv. The objective: plunge 40% of Ukraine into darkness for the first weeks of the new year. A terror raid. A psychological hammer designed to break civilian spirit. But 300 kilometers west in a darkened Ukrainian command bunker, there was no champagne. Only the hum of servers and the blue glow of tactical displays. Ukrainian military intelligence had been watching Morozovsk for months. Satellites, signal intercepts, assets on the ground. They knew everything. They knew the fuel trucks finished at 10:15 p.m., ordnance loading complete by 11 p.m. They knew the air defense crews were on skeleton holiday rotation, distracted. They'd been waiting for this exact moment, the golden hour, when the enemy is fueled, armed, clustered, and vulnerable. 45 minutes before midnight, a single MiG-29 roared into the night from a highway strip in western Ukraine. Under its wings, 8 Storm Shadow cruise missiles, $17.6 million worth of precision death. The pilot, call sign Phantom, didn't climb high, he went low, 100 meters, hugging frozen treetops at 600 miles per hour, a ghost in the radar shadow. He didn't need to cross the border. Storm Shadow is a standoff weapon, a predator that hunts from distance. At 11:47 p.m., exactly as Russian pilots raised their glasses, the MiG climbed to release altitude. Fox 1 through 8, rifles away. 8 missiles dropped. Wings snapped open. Turbojet engines screamed to life. The MiG banked hard and dove back to safety. The pilot's job was done. The machines were in control now. Storm Shadow isn't a dumb bomb. It's a flying robot with cold, terrain-matching intelligence. The 8 missiles dropped to 50 meters, treetop height. They didn't fly straight. They weaved through river valleys, skirted radar installations, used the curve of the Earth to stay invisible. 11:51 p.m. The S-400 battery finally woke up. Contacts, multiple fast movers, low altitude. Panic. Operators scrambled for firing solutions, but the physics were against them. S-400 is designed to kill eagles at high altitude. It struggles with snakes in the grass. Radar lock flickered and died as the missiles dipped behind ridgelines. 2 interceptor missiles fired blindly into darkness. They hit nothing but clouds. The snakes were through the fence. The first Storm Shadow didn't target the planes, it targeted the blood. The aviation fuel depot, 500,000 liters of refined kerosene. The warhead penetrated before detonating. The result wasn't an explosion, it was a cataclysm. A sphere of superheated gas expanded at supersonic speed. The night sky turned blinding white. 3 Su-34s closest to the tanks didn't burn. They disintegrated. Missiles 2 and 3 hit the main apron. 15 bombers in 2 perfect rows. Storm Shadow uses a broach warhead. 2-stage killer. First charge punches through concrete. Second follows through and detonates inside. The missiles punched through tarmac beneath the jets and exploded upward. This was the kill stroke. The blast triggered the jets' payloads. The cruise missiles underneath their wings began cooking off, warheads detonating in chain reaction. The apron became a shrapnel storm, metal flung at railgun velocities. One fully loaded Su-34 was flipped onto its back, landing gear spinning helplessly before melting. Missiles 4 and 5 pierced the maintenance hangars. Overpressure blew out massive doors. The structures collapsed inward, burying 2 more aircraft in concrete tombs. Missile 6 found the munition bunkers. This explosion was different. A deep, guttural heave of earth. The ground liquefied. The shockwave registered on monitors 200 kilometers away. Thousands of tons of explosives intended for Ukrainian apartment blocks consumed in a single millisecond. Missiles 7 and 8 were the finishers. Control tower, radar array. The S-400's spinning dish was swatted from its mount. The control tower, the brain of the airfield, was decapitated. Communications went dead. No coordination, no damage control, no orders. By midnight, as the rest of Russia watched fireworks in Putin's address, Morozovsk was hell. Fires raged across 40 acres, heat so intense emergency vehicles couldn't approach. The tarmac was black with soot, slick with fuel. Through the smoke, the silhouettes were visible. 18 Su-34 fullbacks, Russia's premier strike aircraft, $50 million sledgehammers, not a single one intact, twisted skeletons burning. The economics were staggering. Cost of attack, $17.6 million. Cost of damage, $900 million. But this wasn't about money, it was about time. You can print rubles, you cannot print time. It takes 2 years to build a Su-34, 5 years to train a combat pilot. In 13 minutes, Ukraine had erased nearly a decade of Russian industrial output. The destruction of Morozovsk marked an evolution in modern warfare. Historically, air defense meant interception, fighting the arrow in the air. Ukraine flipped the script. They realized the only way to stop the arrow is to kill the archer while he's sleeping. The psychological impact was catastrophic. Pilots who survived stared at burning wreckage and understood a chilling truth. There is no rear guard, no safe harbor. Distance from the front is no longer protection. The planned New Year's offensive was canceled before it began. The missiles meant to freeze Ukrainian families detonated on Russian soil. Ukraine's infrastructure hummed on, lights burning bright in defiance. As the sun rose over the smoking crater that used to be the 559th Bomber Aviation Regiment, the world saw a new reality. The era of protected sanctuaries was over. Ukraine hadn't just defended itself. It had reached across the snow and broken the enemy's sword before it could be drawn. This was Operation Midnight Bell, a lesson delivered in fire and ash, a reminder that in the 21st century the battle is often won, before the engines even start. And as smoke drifted over the frozen steppes, the silence that followed was louder than any siren.